As a 49ers fan, this moment right now feels weird. It feels like one chapter is clearly ending, while another, way bigger one, might be opening. And both of them say a lot about where this team is headed. Because on one side, there's a situation that's dragged on for way too long, drained energy, caused frustration, and honestly tested the patience of the fan base. And on the other side, there's a potential move that could completely flip the identity of this roster and send a message to the entire league. These two stories aren't random. They're connected by timing, by philosophy, and by the front office clearly choosing a direction. One feels like closure. The other feels like ambition. Something important happened behind the scenes, and depending on how you look at it, you might either laugh or get very, very excited. So before we break all of that down, real quick, if you're a real 49ers fan who lives this team every single day, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. The 49ers Nation Report is brand new. We're pushing for our first 1,000 subscribers, and this is a space for fans who actually care about what this team is doing and why it matters. All right, so let's get into this, because this is one of those stories that 49ers fans are just tired of. But at the same time, you can't look away. At this point, most of us are completely done with the Brandon Aiyuk saga, and I don't say that lightly. This whole situation has dragged on for years, but what really pushed people over the edge was the 2025 season. His frustrating absence throughout the entire year became a constant cloud over the team. Every week, it was something new, some new angle, some new speculation, and meanwhile, the team was supposed to be focused on another Super Bowl run. Instead, it felt like a distraction that never went away. Now, it's pretty clear the 49ers are ready to move on. And once that became obvious, fans and analysts immediately started playing the "where does he land next" game. One of those analysts was ESPN's Ben Solak, and his projection honestly made me laugh out loud. Solak believes Brandon Aiyuk will end up with the Cleveland Browns this offseason. And if that actually happens, man, that would be the most ironic ending possible to this whole drama. In ESPN's off-season Outlook series, they went team by team projecting potential moves. When it came to Cleveland, Solak straight up said the Browns will bring in Brandon Aiyuk, continuing their tradition of signing receivers on low-cost deals and hoping they hit big. He said Aiyuk's days in San Francisco are likely over, and that Cleveland could offer him more money and more opportunity than any other team in the league. And sure, on paper, that sounds appealing. He'd probably walk in as the clear-cut #1 receiver. More targets, more money, more spotlight. But let's be real for a second. At what cost? You're talking about leaving one of the most effective offenses in all of football and walking straight into one of the most dysfunctional offenses in the NFL. This Browns team couldn't win more than 5 games for the second straight season in 2025. 5 games. And the quarterback situation? There is no real plan. Shedeur Sanders is expected to carry the starting job into 2026, but let's not pretend he's some established franchise quarterback right now. He's still a huge question mark. That's a massive gamble for any receiver, especially one who's already dealt with frustration and instability. So, yeah, the money might look good. The role might look good. But everything else around it? It's a mess. And here's the part that really makes this funny from a 49ers fan perspective. Even with San Francisco needing help at wide receiver, especially with both Aiyuk and Jawan Jennings potentially on the way out, the Niners are still in better shape than Cleveland. That says everything. After all the nonsense, all the tension, all the drama that surrounded Aiyuk's relationship with this team, Watching him leave for a franchise that's been stuck in neutral for years would honestly feel like the 49ers getting the last laugh. It wouldn't even feel petty. It would just feel poetic. But here's where things get really interesting. Because while one storyline feels like an ending, there's another one developing that feels like the exact opposite. And if the front office actually goes in that direction, it tells us they're not backing down at all. Let's talk about that next, because this second move, this one could shake up the entire league. All right, now let's shift gears, because this second story hits way heavier. And honestly, this is the one that tells you exactly what kind of mindset the 49ers front office might be in right now. The season ending the way it did still doesn't sit right with me. Getting blown out by the Seattle Seahawks in the divisional round? That hurt. And when you really break it down, a huge reason for that collapse was injuries. Losing Nick Bosa for the season, losing Fred Warner for the season. That's the heart and soul of your defense gone. No team survives that cleanly, especially in the playoffs. So, yeah, the 49ers know they need help. Not depth help, not rotational help, impact help. And that's where this gets serious. There's now a massive trade update involving Maxx Crosby from the Las Vegas Raiders. And this is not just fan speculation anymore. Crosby has spent his entire career playing for bad Raiders teams, but 2025 was rock bottom. Vegas won just 2 games. 2. They now own the #1 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, and everything about that franchise feels like it's being reset. What really lit the fire, though, was how the season ended. The Raiders shut Crosby down for the final 2 weeks of the regular season, despite Crosby making it clear he wanted to play. That didn't sit well with him at all, and that decision reportedly created real tension between Crosby and the organization. This isn't just frustration. This feels like a breakup. NFL insider Jay Glazer went on Yahoo Sports and was asked directly if he thinks Crosby's time with the Raiders is done. His answer? I do. That's it. No dancing around it. No maybe. No hedging. And it gets even bigger. Glazer also said that if the Raiders trade Crosby, they believe they could get a haul bigger than what the Dallas Cowboys got for Micah Parsons. That tells you how highly Crosby is valued around the league, and how expensive this would be. Now let's bring this back to the 49ers, because this is where fans start dreaming. If San Francisco somehow pulls this off and lines up Maxx Crosby opposite Nick Bosa, that's not just good. That's terrifying. That's instantly a top 2 pass rush duo in the entire NFL. And you could argue #1 depending on health. Yes, it would cost a lot. Draft picks, maybe more. But this is the kind of move you make when you believe your Super Bowl window is still wide open. This is a "we're not wasting another year" type of move. The defense would completely change overnight. Quarterbacks wouldn't get comfortable. Offensive game plans would have to shift. And suddenly, losing Bosa last season doesn't feel like something you just survived. It feels like something you learned from. This isn't a rumor about depth. This is a legitimate superstar potentially becoming available, and the 49ers are exactly the kind of team that should be making that call. Now think about this for a second. One story is about moving on from drama. The other is about doubling down on dominance. And when you put those two things together, man, it really makes you question what kind of offseason we're about to witness. Now let's tie all of this together, because when you step back and look at both stories at the same time, they tell you exactly where the 49ers are right now. On one side, you've got the Brandon Aiyuk situation. A long, exhausting chapter that clearly ran its course. A saga full of noise, frustration, distractions, and zero football being played in 2025. And the possible ending? Him walking away from one of the best-run organizations in the league to join a franchise that's still trying to figure out who they are. As a fan, that doesn't feel like a loss anymore. It feels like closure. On the other side, you've got the front office staring directly at why the season ended the way it did. Injuries exposed how thin things can get when stars go down. And instead of panicking or playing it safe, there's real smoke around the idea of going all in. Adding another elite defender, another game wrecker, another statement piece. Put those two together and the message is clear. The 49ers are done with drama, and they're not done chasing championships. This isn't a rebuild mindset. This is a recalibration. Trim what no longer fits. Invest heavily where it actually wins games. One move clears emotional weight from the locker room, the other doubles down on the team's identity. Physical, relentless, and built to dominate the trenches. Is it risky? Of course. Big swings always are. But standing still is riskier when your Super Bowl window is still open. As a fan, this feels like a decisive moment. Not comfortable, not safe, but intentional. And honestly, I'd rather ride with that than watch this team slowly fade by playing it conservative. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment. How do you feel about moving on from Aiyuk? And would you go all in if it meant adding another elite pass rusher? Let's actually talk football. And if you're a real 49ers fan who appreciates honest opinions and real conversations, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the 49ers Nation Report. The channel is brand new, we're pushing toward our first 1,000 subscribers, and every single one of you matters. This is for the faithful. We're just getting started.